Hey, it's Park City Paranormal back with episode 3 of our podcast. How are you doing, Katie?
I'm good. 3 episodes already, huh?
I know we're getting there. We're getting there. You might want to go
keeping the train rolling.
There you go. Yep. You can talk loud like this, closer. Yep. Don't be afraid to like kiss it.
Okay.
Yep. That's what I do.
We're definitely keeping that in
right. Okay. So we thought it'd be fun to do an episode where we give 10 tips for ghost hunting based off of our experience. We've only been officially doing this since 2020, but we've gone through a lot and we're always learning more, and nobody's perfect and every experience is different. So based off of what we've done, we wanted to give 10 tips for ghost hunting. Right, Katie?
Yes. And oh my God, you said 2020. I'm like, that's almost 4 years ago already.
That was the COVID era. I'm so glad.
Times. Everybody remember that time? Yeah.
Right. Woo. Was that
no
a fever
toilet
dream?
paper.
Right? Exactly. So the first tip we have is don't compare yourself to other teams, because every team is unique. Every team is different.
Every team is going to have a different method that they're going to want to do any equipment that they are using, kind of stuff like that.
Right. Like what's one team really likes to use, another team might be like, I don't even feel like messing with that,
Or, hey, we don't get evidence on that at all.
Right, yeah, they don't have success with it. They don't feel like it's worth using, absolutely. So that's one thing too. I've seen some teams get down on themselves like, oh, I don't get enough evidence as this team. No. Like, there are plenty of spirits to go around. So, don't compare yourself to another team, because each team is completely different, and you got to make it your own. 100%.
Yes.
So number 2 is, this really hits home for me, because I don't think I even own a piece of equipment besides, well, I do have I have an EVP recorder, and I have a cat ball. Other than that, for equipment, I get everything on my phone. Like, you do not need, it's fun to have. It certainly is fun to have, and it can be extremely useful. Like Katie's REM pod, we get a lot of stuff from the REM pod. So if I were to buy another piece of equipment, I would probably invest in a REM pod.
Oh, yeah.
And because it's nice to have more than one, but I get asked a lot, what equipment should I buy? And especially if you're first going into this, or you're just doing like a little solo trip, you can just use your cell phone. Like, you take pictures like normal, videos like normal. There's like normally an normal audio recorder on everybody's phone. Just use that and just start off with that. See what you get, because it can pick up just as much as a lot of other equipment that's out there. There's equipment out there that a cell phone can't do, doesn't have the ability to do. But if you're just if you're a beginner and you're just starting out, or you just want to go for a couple hours here and just check a place out, don't be afraid to use your phone. Like, take pictures, videos, audio. I've gotten all my evidence on my phone.
And as far as that goes, I mean, it kind of depends on how the spirit wants to communicate.
Correct.
If it's going to want to try talking, EVP, like, recorder is going to be the way to go, or digital recorder, say it that way. Or for like movement wise, you can use REM pod. Like Michaela said, we have gotten so much with the REM pod.
For sure. That's probably my favorite equipment is the REM pod.
But yeah,
because
so don't break yourself trying to get all this equipment and stuff. You don't need it.
Right.
Have fun with the ones you do have.
Right, like my tip for that, because it is fun to like have those things, but I would start off small, just the cell phone, and then maybe I want to buy dowsing rods. Like, don't go into debt trying to get all this equipment all at once, because you're gonna want to learn how to use it anyway before you invest in it.
Right.
So just start off with your cell phone, see how you like it. If it's something that you want to continue and try more pieces of equipment, then I would just say keep buying it little by little and until you have your own collection. So, yeah, that was number 2. On to number 3, do your own research. Investigate places that call you. So not just the big places that everybody goes to. They're cool to visit, but I find, and I think you too, Katie, you find that like some of the places that nobody ever investigates or people don't even know that it's haunted, we get the best stuff at those places. Like the little hole in the wall places. You know, my suggestion would be to find out in your community, like just make conversation with the wait staff, the bartenders, be like, hey, just curious, has anything weird ever happened here? Because 9 times out of 10, they probably have had experiences, and 9 times out of 10, they probably have not had any like paranormal teams come in and do it. So you could just say, hey, I would love to see if I can pick up anything. I'm getting into this, investigation thing. And so, yeah, that's a really good tip for like beginners, I guess, too. That's what I prefer, going to places that not everybody goes to, because I mean, if I were a spirit and I was at a place that is constantly, being given tours of, or, whatever, I'd be like, go away. Like, I wouldn't want to perform for them anymore. But, so that's my tip. I
And
mean,
honestly, one of my favorite places that I have ever gotten activity at is a local place of mine. And it was one of the most bizarre nights I've had.
right.
One of the best pieces of evidence that I've gotten came from something that was never investigated before.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So you see all these places on TV, like, oh, I want to go here, I want to go there. And that's fine, like to go take a tour or to go check it out, take some pictures. But if you really want to deep dive into ghost hunting and really truly get real evidence, I highly suggest that you go to a place that's not normally investigated. That, I think, at least
It's the most fun.
and it is the most
It's
fun.
so
It totally
mysterious.
is. Right.
You never know what you're going to walk into.
Right. It's the unknown, because you haven't heard anybody's story about it yet. You get to be the first one to do it. How cool is that, So, yeah, that's number 3. Number 4. We've had this experience before, haven't we, Katie?
Oh, yeah.
Don't overpay for an investigation.
Yes.
All right. Just because it looks creepy doesn't mean it's actually haunted. And even if it is haunted, you have to decide, is it worth it? And you don't always know until you do it. Totally understandable. But I would not go and drop like $500 on an investigation at a local place, because I can guarantee you can get a lot of activity, a lot more activity in other places that you can go check out for free.
Yeah.
So I've done that. And regardless, we always have an amazing time. So I don't regret anything. However, like, a lot of people are always telling me, oh, I want to go investigate this, I have to save up money for this, or, and I'm like, well, if you want to catch, a spirit, you don't have to wait for the biggest, most expensive place. Like, more
Right.
expensive does not equal more haunted.
No.
And I think a lot of people think that, like, the more money they pay, the more activity they're going to get. And that's not a guarantee. I bet you're going to pay $500 to do an investigation somewhere, and you're not going to get anything,
Right.
and that's crappy. So it's kind of like there's no guarantees that you're going to get anything, but keep in mind that more money does not mean more haunted.
Yeah, don't break your bank trying to find the more activity
Right.
with this stuff.
Because you might get more activity in your own backyard. Sorry, probably going to give you nightmares now tonight. Number 5 is you can investigate the same place numerous times and get completely different results every single time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've done Shakers, 3 times now? 2 times? 3 times?
2 times.
2
now.
times. Oh, okay. And we've gotten different results. We've done Calvary Cemetery and Tomahawk different times. We got different results. Where have we gone?
My Masonic temple.
Oh, yeah, the
we
Masonic
have
Temple.
done multiple times and have gotten completely different evidence at the time.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, don't be afraid to, if you investigate a place once and you didn't get much activity, don't be afraid to go do it again. If you thought it was a cool place and you're like, yeah, no, I know this place is haunted. Other people have told me they've had all these experiences. Don't be afraid to go check it out again, because you might get something completely different each time. It's like having kids. Just because you had this experience with one kid doesn't mean you're going to have the same with the next. And trust me, I know that. Yeah. So that was number 5. Number 6, a huge one for me. I always tell this to people. Don't overanalyze things. Like, I shouldn't say don't overanalyze. Don't jump to conclusions and think that every
Yes.
single piece of dust is an orb. That irks me.
We get that a lot
Yeah.
from people that will come up, show us pictures. Oh, look at this orb. And we're like, well, that's dust. And
Right.
we can kind of tell it's dust based
Right.
on things around it,
and it's hard because you don't want to
we'll
hurt
see.
their feelings because they're so excited
Right,
about
right.
it. But it's kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
no,
try
that's
your best to debunk before jumping to conclusions about stuff.
right.
That's always one of my biggest things is you hear something, try and debunk it first. If you can't explain it, then it's a possibility that it was probably something paranormal.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? If you've looked at all the different options of what it could be and you can't figure it out, well then that's awesome. You know, that's a cool story you can tell. You say I've checked this and it there's no way it could be any of these, so that's kind of a cool mystery that you're left with. So
Exactly.
but yeah, don't think that every single creek or every single little orb is something paranormal, you know, because there's a lot of different things that make us think, oh, you know, my red flag when it comes to investigating, like my red flag when it comes to that is I tend to see a lot of faces in pictures, and sometimes other people don't, and I'm like, that's a face, you know. And then I'm like, okay, Michaela, am I actually seeing a real face, or is my brain thinking that's a face? Because we tend to do that. We tend to find the faces in pictures and things, and our brain will play tricks on us. Like, it's not our fault, you know. Our brain really does try to find faces and things, and it's like, whoa, you know. And then you kind of have to ask yourself, does it make sense for the background story? Does it make sense for the history? For example, I have a picture on Bloody Bride Bridge, and there's a picture of a girl gasping, and she's like, her eyes are big and she's gasping, but there's a girl who would be about that age of what the face shows, and she got killed on that bridge. So that kind of makes sense. I'm like, okay, that might be a little bit more likely, you know.
Right.
So
And if you want to check out that picture, you can see it on our Facebook page, Park City Paranormal.
yes, absolutely. Thank you, Katie, for bringing that up. If you haven't already, go like us on Facebook, Park City Paranormal. We also have a YouTube channel where we shared our Spirits in the Spring presentation. So that gives a lot of our evidence, and our pictures, our bloopers is the best part. So go check that out if you haven't
There will
already.
definitely be more to come on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Number 7 would be work together, because it's not a competition. There's a lot of paranormal teams out there. I won't mention names, that they try to be like the best, or they think they're better than other teams.
Yeah.
And there's
be that
no
person.
right. There's really no way to be better. Like, it's not a sport, you know, it's not a competition.
We're all trying to figure this out together.
Right, it's an investigation, and like I said, it could be the same team going to investigate the same place 15 times and get a completely different result every single time, you know. And so just because one team got a lot of activity there and the next team didn't get any, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean one's better than the other. That has nothing to do with it. So don't get into that it's a competition mindset. It's para-unity is what they call it in at Spirits in the Spring. A lot of our paranormal team friends, we adore them, and we all share our stories, and we all love each other. We all take care of each other. We all share different things. We would like to collab more with some teams and make fun content, because that's fun. That's how it should be. It
We're
should be fun.
family.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So that's a huge thing. It's not a competition. Number 8. This one I get a lot too. So Hollywood definitely over glorifies like demons and possessions, and that is so flippin' rare. Like, that stuff very rarely happens. And of course, I'm not going to get into like religion or anything like that, but it is so rare that a spirit is actually negative. A lot of times they're just what we call crabby. Like, if they were crabby in life, they're stuck on Earth, haunting Earth, like, they're probably still crabby, and they might just not want you in their space, and they have to figure out a way to communicate with you. So maybe they make a loud bang, or maybe they say something not very nice on the EVP, like, get out. You know, that doesn't mean that they're evil. It doesn't mean that they're going to harm you. It's just they're crabby. Like, they're just like people.
Exactly.
So it's like,
So that's something to keep in mind.
right.
When you go and investigate, because in my opinion, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna come across a spirit that's gonna just talk to you or just be kind of friendly, stuff like that.
Exactly. Some of them are curious. Some of them want to talk, especially with little kids. They are more willing to talk and interact and play, especially if you have toys for them. They really like that. You know, and just how innocent they were when they passed away, how little they were. They don't have a whole lot of anger built up like some of the adult spirits do. So, I mean, it's just like people. You're going to find all sorts of personalities. You're going to find you're going to find pranksters that like to scare you and they think it's funny, you know, just like people. Like people on Earth, they like to prank and they like to scare you, and, you know, they're people, you know, they're people who they just aren't in their shell anymore, and they're for some reason still roaming the earth. They haven't passed on fully yet. So, but that goes into number 9. Have respect for the spirits, because they were people too, you know, and you want to consider them as such. So when you go in there, and we've seen this before, like on tours. Oh no, you weren't there at that one. I went with my friend Caesar. We went to one of the Shakers tour, and there was a guy. He was very intoxicated, and he was just being super rude. He was like falling into things. He was like, "Show yourself, ghost," like being really obnoxious and absurd. And first of all, nobody enjoys that, so don't be that person. Second of all, the spirits are not going to be happy with that. So, like, especially if you're nervous, don't do anything like that, because they probably will scare you. There's just no reason to be a jerk to them. You know, you're going into their space. You are, if you're lucky enough to get any evidence from them, because they don't have to, a lot of times they won't do anything. You know, they just kind of let you pass, especially if it's a place that is frequented by investigators. But just have respect for them. Treat them like you're going into their home. So, yeah. Katie's
Yeah.
like, I agree. Yeah. And the
Don't
last
provoke.
one, number 10, is have fun with it. It's like we said before, it's not a competition. You know, it shouldn't be something terrifying. I mean, if you're really that terrified, you shouldn't do it, because you don't want to
bring that fear level into a
Right.
place, you know, because some spirits might feed off of that.
Correct. Yep. And like I said, sometimes you get pranksters where they're like, I'm going to mess with them, you know, and don't do that to yourself. If you're not ready, educate yourself, you know, before you start doing something like this. It shouldn't be such a serious, like, terrifying, horrifying experience. I mean, sometimes we get things that scare the crap out of us, we won't lie, and those are memorable. However, you got to keep in mind why you're doing it. You have a curiosity like everybody else, you know. You want to see if you can help contribute to the worldwide mission of proving life after death, and that's what it is. And it should be a fun thing. It should be an enjoyable experience. Don't do it if your heart cannot handle it, if you feel like you're going to be sick, if you feel like you are going to have a heart attack, if you feel like you're too scared, please do not do it, because you have to be, just take a step back, read books about it, watch YouTube videos, maybe talk to paranormal investigators, and just say, like, I'm really scared to do this. Can you help calm my fears a little bit before I go in? And the more you do it, the less fear you'll have. I still get scared. I still get nervous going in. It still freaks me out. I'm human. The hair on.
Especially when something happens. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for those, there might be a video on our Facebook page. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Mm-hmm.
Of Shakers where we hear footsteps coming up the stairs.
Yep.
That freaked us out in a way that we had to step back a little bit, take a breath, and then continue on.
Right.
You don't want to have that mindset with fear and just big anxiety, because it's only going to make it worse.
Right.
Take a step back, breathe, think about it a little bit.
Yep.
Go back in when you're ready.
Exactly. And it's all the fear of the unknown, because, as humans, we have that instinct to be like, okay, like fight or flight mode. And, when you hear those footsteps, you think you're about to see a person. Like, that's just your brain expects to see somebody. So you're freaking out because you're like, nobody should be there. So your logic brain kind of takes over, and that's where the fear comes from. But if you kind of, like Katie said, if you kind of just calm down, take a step back and be like, I'm not hurt. I'm safe right now. They're not hurting me. They're not trying to scare me. We're seeing evidence of their presence, and it's okay. I'm safe. I'm not being hurt. They're not trying to scare me. They're not trying to hurt me. They're just here with me in the same space as me right now, and it's okay. and you just talk to them. Like Katie and I do that all the time. I think every investigator does this, and they should. Talk to them even if you can't hear them reply to you. Like, just say, hey, like, for example, the spirit at Shakers, her name is Molly. Hey, Molly, so glad you could join us. We're so happy to be back. Just talk to her like you're her friend. That's what we do, and it makes it a lot more calming because, you're like, okay, she's nice. She's not here to hurt us. We're fine, and you just talk through it.
Guard a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And if you need to leave the building, leave the space, take a break in your car for a minute, watch something funny, regroup, like, that's totally fine. Don't ever be, like I said, that's my number 10 here. Our tip is have fun, because it shouldn't be like, don't torture yourself. If you're really that scared, don't do it. Educate yourself a little bit more, talk yourself through it, and if you need to take breaks, you can take breaks. It should be an enjoyable experience and not torture.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so those are our 10 tips for ghost hunting. I hope that helped anybody who's interested in the field. Feel free to, like I said, add us on Facebook, like our page, check out our YouTube, ask us any questions. We hope to see you at some of the paranormal expos that we're going to be doing. Hopefully we don't only do spirits in the spring. I'm hoping to get into some other ones that pop up here and there. That'd be really cool. And hope to see you out in the community, and let us know your experiences. Let us know some of the things that you find or places you'd hope to investigate, and any questions you have. Ready?
Yeah, so yeah. Well, we enjoyed talking to you guys today, so we will talk to you all later.
Bye. Stay spooky.